All right, good evening. This is Wednesday evening, September 12th. Latest update on Hurricane Florence. And I think we have some changes occurring right now that may be deceptively worse, even though it may be better. We're going to talk about them here in this video. For now, we're going to start with a quick look at the Atlantic National Hurricane Center map. 4 named storms at once: Hurricanes Florence and Helene. Isaac, which will be moving into the Caribbean, which may or may not dissipate there. Going to have to watch that. Joyce, she's going to be out in the middle of nowhere here, and National Hurricane Center now gives this little disturbance in the Gulf that will move towards Texas in the next 48 hours a 70% chance of development. So we could have 5 named storms in the Atlantic at one time, which is crazy after we had almost nothing going on in August. But let's now jump into Florence here. This is the latest National Hurricane Center path. You see they still bring it in as a major hurricane right next to Wilmington on Friday afternoon. Now notice this is very, very slow compared to Thursday where they had it before. This really, really slows down. We're still expecting that. And then still even by Saturday afternoon, it comes in around Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as it rides down the coast, which is what the Euro began showing about 3 model cycles ago, and it's now looking like it's correct because the National Hurricane Center's path has shifted in this direction. They also do not have it quite as strong. If we go to the predicted winds here, right now the winds are down to 120 miles an hour. That's down from 140. It was a Cat 4, and they have it coming in around 120, 115 as it approaches the coast, and then weakening as it grinds up against the coast. And you may think that this is a good thing, which it is in some aspects, certainly, because the surge is not going to be quite as bad. But unfortunately, I don't really think it's going to matter that much, and I think people are focusing on the wrong thing. I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to be a bust. It's not going to be bad. I don't think that's right, and I'm going to show you why here in this video. First of all, we're going to go to the loop here. And you can see with a very ragged-looking appearance of this storm right now. The southern end has been largely eroded by dry air. Shear from the southwest, which has been stronger than predicted going into today, has really fanned out the northeast side. You can see these cloud tops extending way off away from the center on this side, so it's become a very lopsided system, and therefore it looks much more disorganized than it was before. But we still have a Category 3 hurricane here in this core. There's still some very, very intense winds, and that's going to be very, very problematic when this gets to the coast. And if we zoom out here a little bit, we can see why. So this storm right now, look at the size of this storm in relation to North Carolina. It's basically as big, if not a little bigger than the state, and I'm just talking about where you see these negative 50-degree cloud tops over here. The actual outflow is even larger than that. But with the latitude-longitude map, so you can look at it right now, the storm is just to the east of 74 west, and it's right about 32 north, just to the east of 74 west. Well, what you can do, I mean, you can take one of these little boxes here if you look at it, and what's convenient is Wilmington is right around where some of these boxes meet. These latitude and longitude boxes meet. So if the eye is just east of this box here, if you can just want to picture it, if the eye was parking right around here, which it's forecasted to do by many of the models now, you can see how far out this canopy extends. And if you're sitting there in a place like Raleigh, one of the more populated places in North Carolina, which is right in this area over here, in relation to the eye, if the eye stalls here compared to where it is right now, that translates to this area right up here. And you can already see these intense outer bands, these intense colder cloud tops, already extending that far out, which means that it is more likely now that the storm is weakening and has been sheared off and has gotten really fat on the northeastern side, that you are now going to experience more severe flooding conditions. Because when even if the top winds come down, when this comes in and stalls, the heavy rains are not going to be impacted one bit. In fact, if anything, the fact that the shear has fanned this out, these rains are now going to cover a larger area than we had before, if we had a tight core Cat 4 coming in here. So now, if you're sitting there in Raleigh, the likelihood that these devastating rains reach you and stall over you is higher than what many of the models were showing or what it was looking like 8 or 12 hours ago. So yeah, it might be better for places like Ocracoke Island or Wrightsville Beach or Surf City that the winds have come down a little bit. But even there, it might not matter that much, because if a storm stalls here in this position, you're still going to get multiple tide cycles of hurricane force winds pounding water against the coast, and it will be a little bit better, but you're only talking about a couple feet in storm surge because the fact that the storm was already a Category 4 before this, the wall of water has already it has already started to be pushed towards the coast. We can see this if we look at the latest recon mission. You see the pressure is now up to 957 millibars. That's up from the 940s yesterday and the low of 939 when it peaked. I believe on Monday evening, I want to say, but I have to double check that. But in any case, it peaked at 939. But if you look here at this recon plane here, what you notice here is look at how far away these hurricane force winds extend away from the eye. This is all the way out at about 71.5, 72 west, and 32.5 north, compared to where the eye is over here. See, this is hurricane force wind at flight level, which means that all of this this entire portion of the storm here is going to be pushing water at the coast. It's already pushing this wall of water. So if you go back to the loop here, all of this part of the storm is pushing water towards Hatteras, towards Ocracoke, towards Surf City, towards Wilmington. And again, all this is going to rotate around from the northeast side to the northwest side when this comes in, because that's just what they do. It's going to rotate around that direction. So, and you can see this very, very clearly on the null school map. I mean, look at this push of water north of the system. And remember, these hurricane force winds extend out very, very far. So you look at all of this getting pushed as this moves up into this position here, that's all going to get piled against the Carolina coast for multiple tide cycles. So you know you're going to get at least one, if not two, probably three high tides worth of this getting pushed in. And what's going to make it even worse, if we look at, you can look at any model here at the East Coast. Look at what the NAM here. This was the afternoon model run. Most of the models have the storm somewhere in this position, but the exact position is not what's important on this map. What's really important to notice here is this high pressure over New England of 1026 millibars, because what's very, very important to note about this is that a clockwise flow around this high pressure in this area is going to cause a persistent onshore flow for everywhere south of Long Island all the way down to the hurricane's eye. So this water is never going to have any chance to escape along the entire eastern seaboard. And once you start getting down, south of Virginia Beach, this is just a very, very, very big problem, because the water is not going to have anywhere to go. So even if it weakens to a Cat 1, I don't expect it to. I think it still will be at least a major hurricane close to the coast. It might weaken once if it stalls nearby, because it might upwell some cooler water or be, friction-wise. But the water is still going to get pushed towards the coast, irregardless of what it looks like, especially with as big and fat as it is on the north side. Remember, if it pauses in this situation, it doesn't really matter what the south side is doing, because the south side is going to be over water. It's that northeastern quadrant that's going to get pounded into the coast and rotate around into the Carolinas. And that's why, even though the top winds have come down, that probably is a little better situation, certainly for Wrightsville Beach or Surf City. But man, oh man, is that going to spread the heavy rain up in this area. So I would not be jumping for joy at all if I saw this. So this really does not lessen the threat much at all. Let's look at now some of these places here. If you want to look at, here is Ocracoke Island, and this is just you can simple Google image. I mean, remember, coming from this direction now, from the top left portion of this picture, and coming into this island for multiple tide cycles, and high tide, and not getting to receive an onshore flow. I mean, I don't know how many houses are going to be here. I really don't. And getting pounded in this area, they have not received a storm like this in decades. I mean, maybe you have to go back to the 1899 storm, San Siriaco, that hurricane that came in. That might be the last time they saw anything like this. Because I really would be concerned if I owned anything in any of these islands, even with the weakening, because again, as I showed with the wind maps, like here, that is a just ridiculous onshore flow that is not going to be moving when the storm gets in this spot. And I'm going to show you on the European here in a second how, and all the models show this, but I'll show you the European when we get there. And go to the aerial views here. This is Wrightsville Beach, another place. I mean, look at the real estate that you have here, right against the ocean. I mean, you're telling me that you're going to take even a Cat 2 winds right off the coast from multiple. Again, you're guaranteed to get high tides in this. Sometimes you look at, well, maybe the hurricane will come in at low tide or something like that. This one doesn't matter. It's going to move slowly enough. You're guaranteed to get high tide and multiple high tides into places like this. And I mean, I just see extreme damage. If you can zoom out too, this is what it looks like. At this Berry Island here, Maybe this will stop some of the water into this, marsh area here before it gets pushed further back on land. So maybe that will help if you're behind it. But I mean, this is just not a good situation at all, if you're in any of these areas. Jump now quickly to the euro. This is what we were looking at here. This is this afternoon's model run. So now this is valid for tomorrow morning. And you see it comes in here tomorrow afternoon and then evening. And then here's where it stalls, right in that area. Whoops, right, this is tomorrow evening here. Right in that area, somewhere between Wilmington and Ocracoke. That's the area that's just going to take it on the chin, and it's kind of glides. And I mean, this is a 6-hour frame, so we're now Thursday night, overnight Thursday, 1 a.m. So this was like 8 p.m. Thursday night, 2 a.m. Friday, 8 a.m. Friday, 2 p.m. Friday, 8 p.m. Friday. It hasn't moved. This is 24 hours. From here to there in 24 hours. And remember the onshore flow. Remember this map here. Look what this is doing north and east of the eye. Again, and now we go back to the model. Look where it is at this point. This is, I mean, it's going to be doing the same thing when it gets over here. This is a huge problem for these areas, even if it doesn't. And then it starts sliding down the coast to Myrtle Beach. So we talked about here, how, from Thursday night, 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 more hours. This is now Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. I mean, this is just, it's still just off the coast at this point, and the National Hurricane Center map takes it inland around Myrtle Beach. But this, I mean, it could be just inland, it could be just off. But either way, I mean, it's literally not until Sunday night where this thing comes fully inland. It's still going to be raining, by the way. This is now Monday. Look, it's Monday morning. It's still sitting here. Finally comes up around Charlotte. It's not really until Tuesday that the thing finally wrings itself out and then runs up the coast. And then that might even bring some rain into Pennsylvania and Northern Virginia, Maryland, other places that don't need it. But at least that's a day 6 forecast, which now is far enough away where there's some uncertainty. And again, so if you're up there, still monitor this, because the remnants might try to come up even at that point, which could cause more flooding. It won't be anywhere near as bad as what's going to happen to the Carolinas, but there could be an event there because of the amount of rain you've already had. They had more flooding up there today. So, this is just not a good situation at all with the rain. I still think, again, that the rain is going to be the number one. As bad as the surge, as I have just gone over what it's going to be, the rain is going to top it. This is going to be a catastrophic flooding event. This is the PWAT value. It shows you how much moisture is in the atmosphere. Again, this is now Friday morning. I can go back a little bit here. This is Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. Move through the day on Friday, and you're just going to see these PWAT values. Anyway you see over 2 is just has the potential for torrential downpours if you were in any of the Carolinas. And see, it just does not move. It absolutely does not move for 2 days. 4 days, really. Because look, I mean, we're now into Monday night, Tuesday morning now. It's really only Tuesday afternoon here where this finally lifts out. That is just a brutal amount of rain. How much rain are we talking about? Look at this map. Look at this. Everywhere in the purple is 10 or more inches of rain, which is the potential for absolutely catastrophic flooding. And again, if this has even tropical storm force winds, with that amount of rain, you're going to weaken the roots of these trees. They're going to topple over. You have very, very tall trees. Remember, one thing with Harvey last year, you do not have the same type of foliage in Texas, the Texas coast, as you do here. This is going to bring down so many trees. They're going to go into houses. If you are in a house with a lot of trees around it, you really can't be there. You need to be in the interior of the house. You cannot be in a spot where the tree can fall. You need to know what direction the wind is coming from, and know that the tree could fall on that side of the house. You do not want to be there when this happens. I'm telling you, because this is a very, very dangerous situation for anybody in this time. Really, everybody in the purple, especially. I mean, this even goes out into the light blues and the brownish whites here. But the purple is especially. And again, to get back to the point, remember what I said. This is underestimating the rain in this area. If you're up in Raleigh, again, this is why you say, well, this trend is weakening. Not good at all, because I've already shown you how the rain, the outer bands of the system have already expanded, which means that this area up here is now significantly more likely to get into some of this 10-inch rain than was being shown in the European model here. Not good at all. Not good at all. So again, do not let your guard down. The top winds may be coming down, but literally everything else, the diameter of the winds, the duration of the storm, the inland flooding threat is all still there. I'm Matt Gross. I will continue to update as I see fit with this storm, and I really do not see a good situation for the Carolinas. You're just about out of time, but if you can get out of harm's way tonight, do it.